Hi everyone, it's me, the Booknester, and this is my first planner video. First of all, I have to say, the ladies that do this, wow, this is a lot more difficult than it looks. And with my kind of higgledy-piggledy technology that I have, it proved to be a little bit interesting. So you might notice that the angles are a little bit different than what you're maybe used to if you've been watching a lot of planner videos. So this is some of the other books that feather my nest, and I am very excited to start this. I've had some nice comments about it, so hopefully this can be helpful to some people. But what I thought I would do, rather than start off with what I'm calling my Fobonichi or my Bujonichi DIY that I'm doing, which is a combination of a Hobonichi cousin and a bullet journal system, I wanted to show you what I've been using and do plan on continuing to use, and that is my Moleskine weekly planner. So this is mine from last year. I have used this for 2 years now, these type of ones, and what it is the Moleskine one that is the horizontal weekly planner, and that's the one that I'm setting up for 2017 during this video. If I wasn't going back to work and if I hadn't got into the journaling aspect of bullet journals and wanting to be able to sketch and doodle and make more notes about what was going on in my day, I would have just stayed using this. And this is all I've ever really needed. I've got plenty of place to be creative, but not quite the way that I wanted to in going into 2017. So what I've done is I'm going to be continuing to use this planner, and I'll explain while I'm showing you the planner why and how I use it and why I'm going to continue on with it at this time, along with a secondary planner. Now, I have watched a lot of planner videos. There's individuals out there with 5 different planners. When I first started trying to do bullet journal, I really wanted to be in one book. And I love my A5 sizes because they go so easily into my purse, into any type of bag. They're very convenient. I also like these softer covers typically because these have held up beautifully. And again, they're very flexible. So when I was looking for something to go forward with, and I saw the Hobonichi, it is also an A5 size that I'm looking at. But it has some added benefits, which I'll discuss later. But largely it's because it has a day on a page without getting incredibly bulky. There is a Moleskine A5 size that is a day on a page type planner, but what it doesn't have is something that I really need in my planners, which is graph paper. I love the gridded. I know a lot of bullet journalers and I know a lot of other planners, they like the dot grid. I am more than happy right now with my graph paper, that grid. So you will see that in my planner. But for today, what I wanted to focus on was how I set up my weekly, because again, the weekly Moleskine I will be keeping and using. It will probably be the one that travels more to meetings with me because it has the future planning capabilities all the way through to the end of the year. I will also, use it for just dumping on Sundays is normally when I do it. I sit down and I just put all my to-dos that I need to do for the week. And I also use it to keep sticky notes, which those have not gone completely, for future referencing as I move into the next month. So I hope this is useful. Maybe you might enjoy this planner. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And if you have any suggestions, of course, they're always welcome. And thank you for sticking with me and moving into yet another set of books that I feather. And there it is, my nest with. So here are the finished pictures of what we're kind of trying to achieve. It's both my weekly and also my January month setup in my Moleskine. So I use a Moleskine A5 and it has a flexible cover. Here is going through my 2016, and one of the things I'm going to be changing is how many stickers and the different types of stickers. But also, this shows you how I use those pages that aren't very useful by putting in sticky notes and lists and keeping a lot of information with me, even to the point of keeping what polychromos colors I have, so that if I'm in a store I can easily look to see, do I have that one? Do I want to add it? Now we're looking more at the weekly view. So the way this book is set up, it's an A5, and it's got on the right hand side is the actual where I put my to-dos. It's a blank piece of paper with lines. The other side on the left hand is your days of the week, and given horizontal space that you can add to. And I find this really helpful. The back of the book, or the back of the Moleskine that I'm using here, has tons of empty pages, and I use it for last year I was doing a lot of reading challenges, and I was keeping track of them. And again, you have to understand, this book travels with me everywhere. So let's look at this year's. Now there is already some stuff going on because of course you're always forward planning. It doesn't just wait until January 1st. First thing I have is I do have sticky notes in the front that I can use throughout the year. I always replenish that, check it every week. And now you can see that there is more of the sticky notes. Now these are all the things that I have been saving up. They were transferred over from my previous journal of things that I wanted to focus on in January or February or going forward. And all I did is just simply put them on the page. It's now the beginning of the month. It's now January. I take all of them off, and then I'm going to add them to my planning. So one thing I'm showing you here is that I have been a little bit, I know it might be strange, but I've planned out the year in the color schemes that I want to use. Because again, as I mentioned before, when I was doing it, there was too many different styles of stickers. I mean, I was really experimenting last year, and what I found is basically a black and white with a little bit of color here and there is very comfortable and very soothing, and it keeps me focused on what I need to be looking at. And I also use those sticky notes. See, the blue one there is for my reading challenges. I've been working on that as to what I want to do in the different months, and I've went ahead and just stuck them in there. And once I get to that month, I'll look at what those reading challenges are. I'll make sure I have those books, and that sticky note can go away. So here again are more of the pages, like I said, that aren't really useful. It's information I can go and find on my own out on the internet, and I do a lot of the times. And I just use the sticky notes to cover that up. It is one of the downsides of the Moleskine, but the Hobonichi has a lot of pages in it I won't be using necessarily either. So here is the actual, well, it's week 52, so it's the last week of 2016 going into 2017, but I thought that I would use it as my example. Now, I was really nervous about shooting this, and one of the things I did was write all in pencil first. I do not do this typically, and probably going forward, if I show any of my weekly planning, you will see that I don't typically write everything out in pencil, but I did this time. That was a little note, a list of items that I want to keep track of that I'd like to pick up. It's kind of a grocery shopping go and buy list, and I like to have that where I can take it out and put it on the front of my book when I'm out shopping. So basically all I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and get a black pen and be able to start filling in what I've done lightly with my pencil. And again, this isn't what I typically do. So I am using a Micron 005 pen. I'll have the information down below for you. It is very, very small. I like it. I have to apologize. My shot was not the greatest. I am getting used to this. I will get better, I hope. And again, my technology is quite challenging, as am I, quite challenged. And I'm just writing up there to-dos, and that's it. That's all that I'm doing there. I have moved over to using a Pitt pen at this point because it's a little bit thicker, and that title, I like making it a wee bit thicker as well. So here I'm bringing in a Helix Stencil. I love this thing. I like the gradiated different sizes of the squares, the circles, the triangles. I use it all the time in all of my journals and in my weekly planner. And this is where you kind of do see a bullet journal emphasis. Now, right now I'm using stickers. Now, those 3 stickers there came with the Moleskine. They're in the back pocket, but I love using these honey ink stickers that I got off of Etsy. I'll have the information. They're black and white. They're almost like little doodles, just kind of quickly. There's little balloons. So my books, I actually put what books I'm reading or want to read. That is my research sticker that tells me usually I find stuff during the week, especially when I'm reading, of things I want to go research and look up more. Here I am writing out my items that I would like to purchase or pick up when I'm out and about. I have a kind of big shopping plan for my birthday, going into the city, stopping at about 4 different places, and I like to have the names of the places I'm going to, what I'm looking for, specifically when I'm looking for books, because that way it has the author and the title, because you're going to find it by the author and not the title. And once I sit down to plan out my movements through the city, I'll do it in order, and I can use all this information. I will go back in and I'll also write it in my weekly. The things right now, that's what I'm doing, is writing in the things I want to pick up, just so I have a record of it and I can check things off and I can always be looking at it. Again, this is always with me. So now I'm moving over to writing down the kind of like migrating the to-dos. So the to-dos are getting assigned on what day I want to do them. So I look down my to-dos and I go, okay, what days? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And this is kind of new. I've only been doing this for the past couple months, and it's really helped me stay focused. And one of the things I want to create this year is more of a schedule during the day, particularly because I'm not working at this moment, but will in March. I need to start really getting all my projects done that I want done before I start work again, because once it starts, it is fast and furious. If you work in schools, you totally understand what that's like. It's unrelenting. So being this type of organized and focused is important. Now, this is going to look like I have a lot of to-dos, and the reality is it's my last week of 2016. I want to get things finished, and there was a lot of videos I wanted to film and kind of start messing with and planning out. So that's why it looks a little bit busier than probably most of my weeks will. So here I'm just finishing it up, and that's kind of what my week looks like when I'm done planning. There's some spaces for adding, but right now I'm going to add a little bit of washi tape. I really love this stuff. I've put in the information below where to buy it. It is Alice in Wonderland. It's sparkly. It's got blues and grays in it. It's just a lot of fun. That's going to be my January, kind of a, because we're partying because it's new. And I just put a little tiny Alice by my birthday. Woohoo! So, sorry, actually, no, that's New Year's Eve. My birthday had the balloons on it. So, again, I have the information down below. So now we're moving to the month, and this is January. I've already done quite a lot already, and I'll only do January for now, and I'm just putting in more of the information. Again, those sticky notes all around is where some of this information is taken from, and I start marking it off. There'll be more things to add throughout the month as things come up, but for now, this is a beginning of the month, and this is how I plan. Now, I put those little sticky notes to show you that's where they normally would go, but there's a good chance they're going to get migrated. And now I've put in all the sticky notes that were relative to things that are going to be coming up in February. So when I go to do that February, I will be using that information. And that's what I use throughout. I just migrate and move, because some of these sticky notes have information like this one, which actually would be relevant to March, obviously, and that's why it got moved to that one. And I will take these and I said, you know what? These belong on my daily pages for next week. And that's really where my planning system I really like is I'm already starting going, this is for next week versus something that I need for this week. And it gets moved from my January to the week it's relevant to. And so here they all come back. Yep. But one of the best things is every time that I go through them and I can add to them, I know the information is safe. It's there. My sticky notes, don't disappear because of this Moleskine has one of those elastic bands to hold your book closed. So I really have never lost any of these. And when I go to plan for the first week of January, the first full one for week 1, I'll have all this information at my fingertips and I can start transferring and putting on my to-do list and also on the weekly. So hopefully that makes some sense. Maybe the next time that I do one of these, I'll show you that process as well. So we're done. So that is my weekly planner. That's how I set up. I always start with my weekly planner, and then I'll be moving into the other planner journal, because that's really what my other one is. It's more of giving me a chance to journal, but also keep track of business. But this one is for getting me organized every week. Like I said, I normally sit down on a Sunday afternoon with my sparkling sundae, which usually includes a little glass of champagne, and I plan the week. So thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and I hope this was helpful.